Hello. So today we're going to be working up to Firefly pose, Titibasana. So we're going to start down on our backs. And if you've got some blocks, have the blocks handy. So come down onto your backs, just drawing the knees in towards the chest, taking a little rock from side to side, starting to connect to the breath. And then taking the hands onto the knees, keeping the feet together and just separating the knees, pressing them away from you, drawing them back together, back into the chest. So starting to open out the hips. Taking a few one way and then circling back in the other direction. And then bringing the knees back into the chest, taking the hands to the outside of the feet or outside edges of the calf muscles. And then with the knees bent, pressing the feet up towards the sky. So coming into your happy baby pose. Knees come to the outside of the rib cage, shoulders are relaxed. Trying to draw the knees down towards the mat. If you're pressing the feet up towards the ceiling, tailbone lowering down towards the mat. So it's a bit sort of opposite forces of feet trying to press up, but at the same time, hands trying to draw them down. So you're really working into the hips. Maybe take a little sway from side to side, if that feels good. And then bringing the soles of the feet together. Again, keeping the hands around the feet if you can, or taking the hands to the calves, just taking it into a slightly different version of happy baby. You can always use a strap around the feet, holding it with both hands. And then release the hands. Bring the knees back in towards the chest. Take the hands around the backs of the legs and take a couple of rolls along the length of the spine, keeping the chin tucked into the chest. And then finishing at the top of the mat, bending the knees and flexing the toes or the feet. So the shins are about parallel with the mat. And then if you can, taking the first two fingers and the thumb, wrapping them around the big toes. So drawing up through the belly, lengthening the spine. And then maybe starting to stretch out the backs of the legs, drawing the toes towards you. Maybe opening the legs wide. Again, it's a little bit of opposite forces, trying to draw the belly forwards and the feet or toes towards you. And then bring the feet back together. Release the feet down to the mat and then open the knees wide, coming into a bound angle butterfly position. So drawing the soles of the feet together, bringing the feet as close as you can towards the hips, taking the hands around the edges of the feet or to the ankles or the shins, and then lengthening through the spine, trying to draw the knees down towards the mat. And if it feels okay, hinging from the hips, leaning forwards, using the elbows to continue opening out the hips. So release through the head and the neck. Coming back to the breath. And then lifting all the way back up. So just taking the feet a little bit further away to make more of a diamond shape. And then round out the back as you fold forwards, taking the crown of the head towards the feet. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then lifting all the way back to center. So taking the feet wide so they're in a straddle position, as wide as you can get them. Maybe just lifting the sitting bones away from the mat and then releasing them back down. Turning towards the right leg and then walking the hands either side of the right leg, just folding over the leg. Trying to keep the left toes pointing up to the sky, sitting bones down on the mat. And then lifting back to center. So walking the hands over to the other side, lengthening, and then exhaling, walking the hands out either side of the left leg, just folding forwards. Lifting all the way back to center, bringing the hands to the center, and then starting to walk the hands out in front. Or if you're feeling quite open, you can take the hands to the feet or the big toes and then just fold forward. So only doing what feels the right stretch for you. Remember to breathe in and out through the nose. And then lifting all the way back up. Take the hands to the underside of the thighs, so you're bending the knees. Just draw the knees in so the feet are flat. Take the hands behind and then just drop the knees from side to side. And then roll over so that you come up to hands and knees. And keep the left fingers pointing forwards. Just turn the right fingers towards the knees, towards the back of the mat, pressing down through the right wrist and the forearm, so that the heel of the hand stays down or stays in contact with the mat. And then we'll just take a couple of cat-cow stretches. So dropping the belly down towards the mat, lift the chest, lift the tailbone, and then exhale, round out the back. Inhaling, looking forwards, and then exhaling, rounding out the back. So coming back to your neutral spine, spinning the right fingers forwards this time. The left fingers point towards the left knee, towards the back of the mat, and then take the cat-cow again. So dropping the belly, lifting the chest, lifting the tailbone, exhaling, rounding out the back. We'll do one more of each, inhaling and exhaling. Coming back to center, spinning their hands so they're both facing forwards, and then tuck the toes under, send the hips high, coming into downward dog. So just give the head a bit of a shake, pedal out the feet. And then keeping the left foot down on the mat, sweep the right leg up to the sky. Bend at the knee, open the right hip out to the side. Shoulders still facing forwards. And then step the right foot to the outside edge of the right hand. Dropping the left knee down to the mat, coming into your lizard position, lizard pose. So you can stay upright. You can also use a block under the left hand, placing the right hand onto the right knee, or if you're a little bit more open, you can release the forearms down to the mat, just trying to keep the knee drawing in, or the right leg drawing into the side of the right elbow, squeezing in, coming back to the breath, breathing in and out. So a deep stretch through the hip. And then if you're on forearms, just lifting back to the hands, tucking the toes under, lifting that back leg, and then coming into Skandasana. So the right knee stays bent, but you turn the left toes up towards the sky, keeping that left leg straight. Hands can either stay down onto the mat, or you can bring the hands to the heart center. Breathing in and out. And then either using your hands on the mat or keeping the hands at the heart center, coming to the center of the mat, coming to a goddess pose, so lifting the chest, and then taking the arms out, joining the thumb and the first finger of each hand, and then pressing through the feet, straightening the legs, turning the feet so they're parallel, and then take the hands onto the hips. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, folding forward, stretching through the backs of the legs. Hands can come down to the mat, either in line with the shoulders, or you can take the hands to the outside edges of the feet, drawing the crown of the head towards the mat, or even to the big toes. So elbows go wide if you've got hold of the toes. Crown of the head coming forwards, weight coming into the front part of the foot. And then lifting all the way back to center. Place the hands onto the hips, lifting back up and spinning the right toes out to the top of the mat. Rebend the right knee. Take the arms to shoulder height for warrior two. And then reverse the front palm, reverse the warrior. Coming back to warrior two, and then place the right forearm onto the right thigh. Take the left arm up to the sky. So option here to lower the right hand down in front of the right foot, or you can take that arm underneath the right leg and then wrap the left arm behind, taking hold of the left wrist with the right hand, sinking the hips a bit deeper. And then release the hands either side of the front foot. Turn onto the back toes, facing forwards, and then step the back foot to join the front at the top of the mat. Hands to shins, lift the chest. Exhale, fold over the legs. So coming into a deep forward fold, releasing the head, sending the sitting bones up towards the sky. And then taking the arms wide, reach them up above the head, inhaling. And then exhaling, folding forwards, coming down to the mat. So from the top of the mat, take the feet a little wider, bending the knees and sinking the hips low, coming into squat position, Malasana. So taking the elbows to the insides of the thighs, pressing the hands together, sinking the tailbone down towards the mat, opening across the chest. And then you can stay here, or you can come into crow pose. So taking the hands down to the mat, turning the feet so they're parallel, coming up high onto tiptoes. Keep gazing forwards rather than down, and then take the knees in towards the armpits, bringing the weight forwards, maybe lifting one foot and then the other, or lifting both feet. And then wherever you are, stepping or jumping back into your plank position. From plank, dropping knees and onto the belly, or taking chaturanga, inhaling to cobra or upward dog, and then exhaling, taking it back for downward dog. So again, just give the head a bit of a shake, pedaling out the feet, and then keeping the right foot down on the mat this time, taking the left leg up to the sky, bending at the knee, and then opening the left knee out to the side, shoulders facing forwards. Take a step forward with the left foot to the outside of the left hand, and then lower the right knee down to the mat. So coming back into lizard pose, untuck the back toes, and either taking your block, placing the hand onto the knee, or lowering down onto the forearms. Again, keeping that left knee in towards the left arm as much as you can. And then pressing down into the hands, coming into Skandasana. So tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, and then keeping the left knee bent, almost just spin the right toes to the sky, turning to the long side of the mat, bringing the hands to the heart center. Either keeping the hands down onto the mat or keeping the hands high, walking over to the center, coming into that goddess pose, taking the arms to a cactus shape again, joining the thumb and the first finger, relaxing the shoulders, sinking the hips a bit deeper, and then pressing through the feet, straightening the legs, turning the feet so they're parallel, and take the hands back down to the hips. Inhaling, and as you exhale, folding forwards. So again, keeping the hands on the hips and then releasing them down, taking the hands to the toes or the outside of the legs, drawing the crown of the head towards the mat. If it's in your practice and your head comes down to the mat, then you can always add in a headstand. So a tripod headstand, bringing the crown of the head down. Or maybe lifting the legs up to the sky. Keeping the legs wide or joining the feet together. And then opening the legs wide again. Lowering them back down. Lifting up, everyone lifting up to spider fingers. And then placing the hands onto the hips, pressing down through the feet, coming back to standing. So turning the left toes to the top of the mat, bending the left knee. Take the arms out for warrior two. Reverse the front palm, reverse the warrior. And then come back to your warrior two. Placing the left forearm onto the left thigh, taking the right arm up to the sky. So you've got options to stay here, to lower down, taking the left hand to the inside of the left foot, left leg, and then maybe wrapping the right arm around the back, coming into a bind. So left elbow goes underneath, reaches for the right wrist, opening across the chest, sinking the hips a little deeper. And then releasing the hands either side of the front foot, spinning onto the back toes, and then stepping the back foot to join the front. Inhaling and exhaling, folding over the legs. You can keep the hands down onto blocks, or if you're stretching or feeling a little bit more open through the backs of the legs, you can wrap the arms around the legs and draw the body, the nose towards the legs. And then release the hands, release the feet, lift the chest. Inhale, take the hands to the hips, press through the feet and come all the way up to standing. So we'll come into our peak pose, our firefly pose. So if you've got the blocks, take the blocks down either side of the feet, having the feet about hip distance, and then folding over the legs. You can always start with the feet a little bit wider and then walk them in. So bending the knees, folding over the legs, and then take the hands between the legs, wrap them around the backs of the legs and place the hands onto the blocks. So you might want to walk the feet in a little bit and then pressing down through the blocks, keeping the legs squeezing onto the arms, maybe lifting one leg or the other. Keep squeezing the legs onto the arms. And then releasing back down. So you can try again with the blocks. You can always, if you don't want to come into the full pose, you can always just practice opening up the hip a little bit and then wrapping the leg around the top of the right leg around the right arm, getting it as high as you can, squeezing it onto the arm, hands either side, or again maybe onto blocks, lifting the bottom away from the mat and then releasing down. So just getting the feel of lifting away from the mat. You can do that with both legs. And then I like to come into the full pose again in that same way. So taking the feet round about hip distance or starting there, folding over the legs. And then bending the knees a little bit so that you can take the arms through the legs. Get the tops of the arms as far back as you can. Hands come to the outside of the feet and then squeezing the legs together, sorry, the legs to the arms, lifting the feet away from the mat. So drawing up through the belly, breathing in and out, and then releasing all the way back down. So when you've come down or had a few goes, just come all the way back down onto the mat. Keeping the feet hip distance, pressing through the feet, pressing through the hands, just a gentle lift of the hips into a bridge position. And then releasing all the way back down. Bring the knees into the chest. Take a little rock from side to side. And then take the arms to a cactus shape. Drop both knees over to the left. Gaze can go over to the right. And then bringing the head back to center. Knees back to center, dropping the knees over to the right. Gaze goes over to the other side. And you're welcome to come into a Shavasana or take the left arm across the body to join the right. Just pausing on your side for a couple of breaths. And then pressing one hand into the mat, the top hand into the mat to lift yourself back up, coming to an easy seated position. Take a couple of shoulder rolls up, back and down. And then take the arms wide, reach them up above the head as you inhale. And as you exhale, bring the hands back to the heart center. Gazing down to the fingertips, relaxing the shoulders, the face, the forehead, connecting with the breath. And then starting to rub the palms together, creating a little bit of warmth. Place the palms over the eyes. Inhaling. And then as you exhale, release the hands back to the heart center, opening up the eyes. Thank you very much. So that was quite a short, quick, fairly strong practice moving into Firefly pose, non-balance. So it's something to keep practicing. Thank you.